According to McKinsey, companies that use data-driven decision making are 23 times more likely to outperform their competition in acquiring new customers. And this doesn't stop there. They are 9 times more likely to retain these customers compared to the competition. Now, the question is, how do they generate these insights? You guessed the answer, through statistical analysis. So if you are doing descriptive and statistical analysis, you are already ahead of the game. This is Dr. Humera, your data and AI mentor. In this module, we will apply the statistical analysis concepts on the Amazon sales dataset. We'll generate the metrics and uncover insights and trends from the data. No complicated maths, no headaches, just plain, simple statistics. Let's get started. We are now here at our Amazon sales dataset. And if you recall, before diving into the data, we need to know the business question. We need to think from the business's point of view. So by looking at this data, what are the business questions that we can answer? For example, we have the product ID, product name, category. Category is something where we can ask ourselves which category is the most popular one. When it comes to pricing, we can ask ourselves what is the minimum, maximum, average price that we are offering. What about the discounts? We can ask ourselves about customer satisfaction. What are the different ratings? If the rating is below average, then as a next step, we can go ahead and ask ourselves, why is the rating below average? Or which products are doing very good, where the customers are very happy? Or if the customers are not happy and they are giving lower ratings, then what is their biggest complaint? What are they leaving as a review? By identifying what are the problems or what are the pain points of the customers, which we can identify from the reviews, we can in turn improve our products. Which means if you look at this data from different perspectives, you can actually identify a lot of insights, from product features to pricing to customer satisfaction. Let's continue looking at the ratings and try to identify what products are doing good and which needs improvement. For this, we can create a new sheet and call this sheet as stats. You can get started by calculating some very basic statistical information for the column G, which is rating. Let's start with minimum, maximum, and average. And later on, we'll explore further. So let's give some headings. So here are the stats that we want to calculate, and here is the parameter for which we are working. We said that we would like to look at minimum, maximum, and average. And then you can specify the formula. So for minimum, just like any other formula, you start with equal to, and then you specify the formula, which is MIN. Google is showing some suggestions, so you can autocomplete by hitting enter or clicking. And then you specify for which values do you want to get the minimum. So you go to the Amazon tab and click on the column name, which is G. So this way, the whole column will be selected. And then you'll click, and then you will close the bracket and hit enter. So here you see that the minimum rating that you are getting is 2. Let's see what is the maximum rating that we are getting. In a similar way, we start with equal to, specify MAX, and then starting bracket, go to the Amazon sheet, click on the heading, close the bracket, and hit enter. And the maximum rating is 5. And same goes on for average. You start with an equal to, you start with average. Here, the autocomplete suggestion is actually wrong because Google is suggesting to get the average of the above two values. We are interested in the average, but we are not interested in the average of min and max. Rather, we are interested in the average of, again, sheet Amazon and column G, and you close the bracket. And the average is 4.096. This is an interesting information. The difference between the minimum and the maximum rating is quite high. The average is 4, but somebody gave the rating 2, somebody gave the rating 5. We have no idea how many people actually gave the rating 2. We would like to know if the number 2, the low rating of 2, was an outlier or is it normal? And this is actually an important question which statistical analysis can help you answer. What is the distribution of the data? Are there outliers? Is there skewness? And so on and so forth. For this, one of the statistical information, which is standard deviation, that comes in handy. So let's create an entry for standard deviation. So the formula is, again, you start with equal to, and Google guessed it, standard deviation, STDEV, but not for this sheet. Rather, you go to, again, Amazon and select column G. And here you have a standard deviation of 0.29. In order to understand standard deviation, you can imagine how much are your values away from the average. If a standard deviation is high, it means the values are very far away from the average and there is a lot of differences in the values. A low standard deviation is telling you that most of the values are close to your average. This is actually telling us that a 0.29 standard deviation is telling us that most of the values, most of the ratings are actually close to 4, which already tells us that if somebody gave a rating of 2, not many people are there. But if you want to go deeper, we can, as a next step, identify who and how many people gave a value of 2, and we can explore it further. Let's do that. We come back to our Amazon sheet and we have a number of ways to identify how many people gave bad ratings. One is that we apply a filter and filter out only those values which are below a certain value. Or we can sort the sheet according to ascending order. So we'll be able to see all the lower ratings in the beginning and then afterwards higher ratings. Let's actually do that. So we selected the data, go to data, sort range, and advanced range sorting options. Data has a header row. And this time we want to sort according to rating, A to Z, so smallest is first. And then we come here. And actually the values for 2 and 2 point something are very few. So there are, if you just select them and you can click on this tab and click count, you can see that there are only 6 elements which are rating 2 to 2.9. And for 3, we see quite a lot. We can also count them. But still, out of thousands, we can see that if we count them, there are 348 which are in 3s. So yes, they are not very good results for certain products, but at least we know that for most of our products, the ratings are 4 or more. This is actually a good thing to know. In the next steps, we can explore further and dig deeper into what is causing these low ratings or which products are getting low ratings. One of the things that we can try out right now already is to check the correlation between multiple variables. What I mean by this is, let's discover if For example, the discount percentage has any correlation with rating. Does it happen that when the discounts are higher, then the ratings are higher, and when the discounts are lower, then the ratings are lower? So, is discounting or sales driving the ratings or not? Or if there is a similar correlation between the price and the rating or something else. Checking the correlation is another statistical concept which is very valuable. So let's check out the correlation between the discounts and rating. Coming back to our stats, we can specify that we are checking the correlation. The formula starts with an equal to. You start typing correlation. Google suggests an autocomplete. And here you need to specify the two variables or the two data ranges that you want to correlate. So the first variable or the first column that you want to check is the discount percentage. And after a comma, you need to specify the next one, which is rating. And then you close the bracket. So here you can see that we are comparing column F, which is discount, with column G, which is rating, and we are calculating the correlation formula. If you hit enter, you see a correlation of minus 0.155. Now, how do we interpret this value? Correlation between two variables range from -1 to 1. A value of 1 means there is a very strong positive correlation. So 1 increases, the other one increases. And 1 decreases, then the other one decreases. A -1 correlation is perfectly negative correlation. So 1 increases, the other decreases. The 1 decreases, the other one increases. 0 in the middle means there is no correlation. And since we are getting a value of minus 0.155, this is very close to 0. This shows that there is not any correlation or not much correlation between the discount price or percentage and the ratings. So at least we get that out of the way, that people are not rating something good just because they are seeing a discount, and they are not putting something as a bad rating just because there is not much discount. There is something else which is the problem. And that's basically it. It wasn't that difficult, right? Of course, you can do much more with stats. For example, generating hypotheses, calculating the median and the mode in addition to mean and average. But the bottom line is that you are using this statistical analysis to drive insights for the business. And that's the point that you have to remember always. Stats allows you to convert these data points, these numbers, into insights, into trends. And you use these insights and trends to make decisions. In the next module, we will go further deeper into the analysis and we'll check out the exploratory data analysis. Stay tuned.